There is a spiritual discipline that moved heaven for 21 days, shattered territorial principalities, brought prophetic revelations, and transformed a young slave into an advisor to kings. A practice that can change your body, mind, spirit, and destiny in just 3 weeks. That discipline is the Daniel fast. Today you will discover the secrets behind the most powerful fast in the Bible. You will learn how Daniel used this discipline to resist cultural pressure, receive prophetic visions, and influence empires. And most importantly, how you can apply these principles to transform your life in the next 21 days. If you're ready to discover the transformative power of the Daniel fast, like this video right now, subscribe to the channel to receive more content on life-changing spiritual disciplines. Share this with someone who needs a spiritual breakthrough, and turn on notifications. This journey can revolutionize your spiritual life. My name is Brian, and over the next hour, we're going to dive deep into the fast that changed history. You'll understand the difference between a regular fast and the Daniel fast, learn how to practice it correctly, and discover why 21 days could be the game changer you've been waiting for. Prepare your heart and mind, because what you are about to learn could be the beginning of a complete transformation in your spiritual, physical, and emotional life. Daniel's original fast. To understand the power of Daniel's fast, we need to go back to 6th century BC Babylon, where a young Hebrew made a decision that would define not only his life, but the fate of nations. The first fast, Daniel 1. Daniel 1:8 records the decision that changed everything. And Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he asked the chief of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. This wasn't just a dietary issue, it was a profound spiritual decision. The king's food had been offered to Babylonian idols. Accepting this food would mean compromising his faith and defiling himself spiritually. The 10-day test. Daniel proposed a test. Please test your servants for 10 days and let them give us vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then let us see what we look like and what the young men who eat the king's food look like. Then do to your servants as you see fit. The supernatural results. Daniel 1:15-17 reveals the result. And at the end of 10 days, their faces appeared better, and they were fatter than all the young men who ate the king's food. And to these 4 young men, God gave knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom. But to Daniel, he gave understanding in all visions and dreams. Do you realize what happened? In just 10 days of partial fasting, Daniel and his friends became physically healthier and received supernatural wisdom from God. This was no coincidence. It was the direct result of committed spiritual discipline. The second fast, Daniel 10. Decades later, now old and experienced, Daniel faced a situation that required an even more intense fast. Daniel 10:2-3 tells us, "In those days I, Daniel, was mourning for 3 weeks. I ate no desirable food, neither meat nor wine entered my mouth, nor did I anoint myself with oil until the 3 weeks were completed." The purpose of the 21-day fast. Daniel was not fasting out of whim or religious tradition. He was seeking understanding of a vision he had received, a revelation about the future of his people. It was a fast with specific purpose and spiritual urgency. The revelation that came. At the end of the 21 days, Daniel received one of the most extraordinary visions in the Bible. An angel appeared and revealed something shocking. "Do not be afraid, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come because of your words." Spiritual warfare. Revealed, the angel continued, "But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days, and behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me." Daniel's fast had triggered a spiritual war in heaven that lasted exactly the entire 21 days of his fast. I met a pastor who fasted for 21 days following Daniel's pattern during a crisis in his church. He told me, "Brian, on the first day of the fast, problems began to arise that seemed impossible to solve. But on the 21st day, all the situations were resolved supernaturally. I realized that my fast had moved the spiritual world for 3 weeks. The difference of the Daniel fast. The Daniel fast is not just abstinence from food, it is a complete spiritual discipline that involves specific dietary restrictions, intensified prayer life, seeking divine revelation, genuine humiliation before God, persistence for a set period. How to do the Daniel fast correctly. Now that we understand the biblical foundation, let's learn how to practice the Daniel fast correctly and effectively. What to eat while fasting. Based on Daniel 1 and 10, the fast includes vegetables of all kinds, fresh, cooked, baked, fresh fruits, avoid processed juices, whole grains, brown rice, quinoa, oats, legumes, beans, lentils, chickpeas, nuts and seeds, peanuts, chestnuts, chia, pure water, lots of water. What to avoid. Completely. Daniel was specific about what not to consume. Meat of any kind, beef, pork, chicken, fish, sweets and refined sugars, breads and pastas with sugar, dairy products, milk, cheese, yogurt, alcoholic beverages, soft drinks and sugary drinks, coffee and stimulant drinks, processed and industrialized foods. Remember, this is not just a weight loss diet, it's a spiritual discipline. Every no you say to the flesh is a yes you give to the spirit. The 21-day structure, days 1 to 7. Purification. The first week is the hardest physically. Your body is detoxing and adapting. Spiritually, it's a time of brokenness and repentance. Pray more intensely, confess your sins, and seek purification of your heart. Days 8 to 14. Revelation. The second week is when your spiritual sensitivity sharpens. You may begin to receive dreams, visions, clear direction from God. It is the period of greatest search for revelation and understanding. Días 15-21. Breakthrough. La tercera semana es cuando los avances suceden. Just as Daniel received the vision on the 21st day, this is when you can experience the greatest manifestations of God's power. Important practical guidelines. 1. Prepare yourself spiritually. Don't start fasting on impulse. Pray, seek God's direction, set clear goals. Ask, Lord, what do you want to do in my life in these 21 days? 2. Communicate with your family. Explain to your family what you're doing and why. Ask for their support and understanding. If necessary, prepare separate meals or adapt dishes for the whole family. 3. Intensify devotional life. Use the time you would spend cooking and eating to pray and read the Bible. Wake up early to seek God. Have specific times of worship and intercession. 4. Keep a spiritual journal. Write down revelations, dreams, and directions you receive. Record physical and emotional changes. This will help you track God's work during the fast. Important medical care. Consult a doctor before starting, especially if you have diabetes, heart problems, eating disorders, are pregnant or breastfeeding, take specific medications, have a history of hypoglycemia. God is not pleased with sacrifices that harm our health. If you have medical limitations, adapt your fast according to medical advice. What matters is the heart, not the rigidity of the rules. Alternatives for those who cannot fast food. If for medical reasons you cannot fast food, consider fasting from social media and entertainment, fasting from television and streaming, fasting from unnecessary purchases, fasting from complaints and negative words. A sister told me, Brian, I did the Daniel fast for spiritual reasons, but God surprised me. In addition to the revelations I received, I lost 18 pounds, my skin improved, my energy increased, and I discovered I had intolerances to several processed foods. It was a complete transformation. If you're inspired to do the Daniel fast, leave a like so more people can learn about its power. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We have much more content on spiritual disciplines. Share it with someone who needs a spiritual breakthrough. And turn on notifications. We'll discover the extraordinary results of this fast. The spiritual results of fasting. The Daniel fast is not just a discipline, it is a key that unlocks specific spiritual doors. Let's discover what results you can expect during these 21 days. 1. Breaking vices and strongholds. Fasting breaks the power of the flesh over the spirit. 1 Corinthians 9:27 says, "But I discipline my body and bring it into subjection, lest when I have preached to others, I myself should become a castaway." During fasting, you can experience freedom from food addictions and cravings, sugar and caffeine addiction, destructive behavior patterns, limiting mental strongholds, habits that hinder spiritual growth. 2. Increased spiritual sensitivity. Joel 2:28 promises, "And it shall come to pass afterward, that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions." Fasting sharpens your sensitivity to hear God's voice clearly, discern spirits and situations, receive prophetic dreams and visions, understand the word more deeply, perceive divine guidance for decisions. 3rd, intensification of prayer life. When you deny the body, the spirit grows stronger. Your prayers become more focused and directed, charged with greater spiritual authority, persistent and determined, specific and prophetic. Answered prayer testimony. A brother told me, "Brian, I had been praying for months for my wayward son, but it seemed like the prayers weren't coming through. On the 15th day of the Daniel fast, my son called me crying, asking for forgiveness and wanting to come home. I realized that the fast had broken down the spiritual strongholds." 4th, revelation of purpose and direction. Fasting clarifies spiritual vision. Habakkuk 2:2 instructs, "Write the vision and make it plain on tablets, so that he who runs may read it." During fasting, God can reveal your specific purpose and calling, direction for important decisions, strategies for challenges you face, revelations about your future, insights into seasons of life. 5. Breaking generational curses. Fasting breaks negative spiritual patterns that are passed down from generation to generation. Isaiah 58:6 declares that true fasting unties the bands of wickedness and breaks every yoke. You can see breaking down patterns of poverty in the family, cycles of divorce and destructive relationships, addictions passed from parent to child, hereditary diseases with spiritual origins, curses from negative words. 6. Increased spiritual authority. Mark 9:29 shows that certain demons come out only by prayer and fasting. Fasting increases your authority to cast out demons and break oppressions, pray for healing more effectively, intercede for others powerfully, resist temptations firmly, influence spiritual atmospheres. 7. Intimate proximity to God. Fasting creates a special closeness to God. James 4:8 promises, "Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you." During fasting, you can experience God's manifest presence in a tangible way, deeper and more intense worship, intimate communion during prayer, supernatural peace in the midst of storms, inexplicable joy despite circumstances. Intimacy testimony. A sister told me, "Brian, on the 18th day of the fast, I was praying when I felt God's presence so real that I began to cry and cry. It wasn't sadness. It was a love so deep my heart couldn't contain it. I understood what true intimacy with the Father means." 8. Character transformation. Fasting produces fruits of the Spirit. Galatians 5:22-23 lists love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. You may notice changes in patience with difficult people, self-control in stressful situations, kindness and compassion for others, faith to believe in the impossible, peace in the midst of difficult circumstances. Physical and emotional results. The Daniel fast doesn't just transform the spirit, it impacts your entire being, body, mind, and emotions. Proven physical benefits. Complete detox. By eliminating processed foods, sugars, and preservatives, your body undergoes a natural detox. You may experience increased energy and disposition, improved sleep quality, clearer and healthier skin, reduced bloating and fluid retention, and improved digestion. Healthy weight loss. It's not the main goal, but it's a natural result. By consuming only natural and nutritious foods, many people lose weight healthily, 3 to 8 kilograms in 21 days, reduce measurements, especially around the waist, reduce cravings for sweets and junk food, and develop new eating habits. Improvement in health conditions. Many people report improvements in blood pressure and cholesterol, diabetes and insulin resistance, chronic digestive problems, headaches and migraines, and various inflammations. Important, always consult your doctor before fasting, especially if you have pre-existing health conditions. Emotional and mental benefits. Mental clarity. Natural nutrition improves brain function. You may experience increased ability to concentrate, sharper memory, clearer reasoning for decisions, increased creativity, and reduced brain fog. Emotional stability. Sugar and processed foods cause mood swings. Without them, you may notice greater emotional stability, reduced anxiety, improvement in mild depression, greater patience and self-control, and a feeling of natural well-being. Self-esteem and self-discipline. Completing 21 days of fasting develops a sense of achievement and personal victory, increased self-esteem and confidence, greater self-discipline for other projects, breaking the "I can't" mentality, strengthening willpower. Emotional transformation. Testimony. A brother told me, "Brian, I've suffered from anxiety for years and was on medication. During the Daniel fast, my anxiety decreased dramatically. At the end of the 21 days, I was able, with medical supervision, to reduce my medication. I discovered that much of my anxiety was linked to food." Changes in relationship with food, breaking food addictions. Fasting exposes and breaks addictions you didn't even know you had. Sugar and sweets addiction, refined carbohydrate cravings, caffeine addiction, eating out of anxiety or boredom. Palate development. After 21 days without sugar and processed foods, fruits become sweeter and tastier, you appreciate natural flavors, develop a preference for healthy foods, and reduce your craving for junk food. Food consciousness. You develop greater awareness of what you consume, ability to read labels and ingredients, preference for natural and organic foods, understanding of how food affects your body and mood. Social and relational benefits, improved relationships. With greater patience and self-control, you may notice fewer unnecessary conflicts, a greater ability to forgive, wiser and more loving communication, and a positive example for family and friends. Family testimony. A sister told me, "My husband said I became more patient with the children during the fast. He was so impressed that he decided to fast too. Today, our whole family has changed our eating habits and our home is more harmonious." Developing compassion. Feeling controlled hunger develops. Compassion for those who are hungry, gratitude for food, generosity towards those in need, social awareness about waste. Post-fasting preparation. How you break your fast is crucial. Reintroduce foods gradually, maintain any healthy habits you've developed, continue to avoid excess sugar and processed foods, and use the experience as a basis for permanent changes. Testimonials and final guidelines. In closing, I want to share powerful testimonies and give final guidance for your Daniel fast. Financial breakthrough testimonial. A businessman told me, "Brian, I was on the verge of bankruptcy when I started the Daniel fast. On the 19th day, I got an unexpected call from a client who wanted to close a deal that saved my company. It wasn't a coincidence. It was a response to the fast." Healing testimony. A sister testified, "I did the Daniel fast for spiritual reasons, but in the middle of the fast, medical tests showed that a nodule on my thyroid had shrunk significantly. The doctors were amazed. I knew it was the power of God working through the fast." Family restoration testimony. A father told me, "My teenage sons were rebellious, and our home was in chaos. During the 21-day fast, I prayed specifically for family restoration. On the last day of the fast, both of my sons came to me asking for forgiveness and saying they wanted to return to God. Maintain balanced expectations. Don't fast just hoping for spectacular miracles. Fast to draw closer to God and allow Him to work in you in whatever way He chooses. Be flexible with wisdom. If you have a medical emergency or exceptional situation, adapt your fast as needed. God looks at the heart, not the rigidity of rules. Continue the discipline. Use fasting as a catalyst for a life of greater spiritual discipline. Don't revert completely to old habits after 21 days. Share your experience. Testify what God did during your fast. It may inspire others to seek God in the same way. We have reached the end of this journey through the Daniel fast. Today you have discovered a spiritual discipline that can completely transform your life in just 21 days. Remember, the Daniel fast isn't just about food, it's about breaking the power of the flesh to release the power of the Spirit. It's about creating space in your life for God to work supernaturally. I challenge you to start your Daniel fast. Choose 21 days in the next few months, prepare yourself spiritually, and allow God to transform your life. You could be the next person testifying to extraordinary miracles. If you're determined to do the Daniel fast, leave a like now. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more content on transformative spiritual disciplines. Share it with someone who needs a breakthrough in their life. And here is my prophetic challenge. Comment below this sentence: I will do Daniel's fast and experience the power of God. I want to see how many of you are willing to commit to this journey of transformation. May God bless you, and may the peace of the eternal be with you.